Hey, what's going on out here?
I wanted some alone time. Thank you very much.
Okay. And what are you painting here? I'm a little confused.
This is a matte painting. The way they used to do it 100 years ago. They didn't have computers 100 years ago. They did it on glass. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to appreciate the work that these matte artists used to do.
But nowadays, don't we have computers, After Effects, overlays, different things we can do instead of this?
Yes, but I think that to truly appreciate the power of the computer, one must immerse themselves in the old ways. It doesn't look special through that camera, but through this one, it's a special perspective. See, the camera only has one eyeball, and so you can trick the camera into thinking that this painting and that stuff are the same. It's very exciting stuff, actually. It's a magic trick, albeit a very lame one because my painting job is not very good.
I don't have time for your magic tricks.
Illusions, Dad. You don't have time for my illusions.
What is wrong with you? Why are you...
So have you learned anything in the process while doing this about
Yes.
perspective or angles or colors? What have you learned?
I have learned that I am a terrible artist. And I'm lazy. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I've only worked on it for about an hour. I've also learned that perspective is very important and that I don't know much about it. It was difficult to match colors and to get the tonal values to be even close to what is reality. So this is very difficult, and I can see why they don't do it this way anymore. Also, it's a beautiful day. It's not windy, but if it was, this wouldn't really be possible because this would probably blow over in the wind. The other constraint that I have is I can't place the camera in a very dynamic place because I need to paint vertical like this. Maybe at a slight up or down angle I could get away with, but I can see why the old matte shots in the old movies were very plain. And the camera can't move. If the camera moves, the illusion is broken. But this is actually very enjoyable. The process of painting like this is way more enjoyable than working with After Effects.
I'm getting a Three Amigos vibe here.
You are?
Yeah.
The Three Amigos. It's taking artistic license over the image. And it's fun because I feel like I placed the camera in a specific place, and now I am painting the rest of the world. And more than any shot I've ever had before, I feel like this is a Thomas shot, something from my imagination and my perspective. And so it gives me a sense of satisfaction. It's special. People would spend years becoming masters at creating matte paintings, and they had to work fast on location while the whole crew and everybody waited around for them to finish. Imagine the pressure that these matte artists had.
Was it a process similar to this where they go on location? Would the director see a shot and say, I need you painted mountains?
Yes, they would find the shot first, and then they would place the glass where it needed to be, and then the matte artist and the camera operator would work together to map out the perspective, and then the artist would get to work and start painting.
There's a camera set up with a piece of glass that the camera is photographing through, and the matte artist actually paints on that piece of glass out on location. Now, the disadvantages to that are that the crew has to wait until the matte artist is finished doing that painting.
And then afterwards, a lot of their art was just thrown away. It wasn't even saved, and it was on glass. It's probably just destroyed afterwards. But it was preserved forever on film, which made it special.
Do you think it was glass sizes? Was the glass larger than this
The
generally?
glass could have been much larger than this. But this was the biggest one I found at my mom's house. My mom gave me an old frame. Very nice of her. Thank you, Mom, for the old frame. But yes, they had much larger panes of glass. Maybe not always. Maybe sometimes they were smaller like this. One thing that's very important to keep in mind is that when you're positioning the camera and the exposure, the depth of field has to be very wide. So that way this in the foreground and the stuff in the background can both be sharp. And I had a difficult time doing that. If there's a shallow depth of field, it's going to look like this, which doesn't look convincing at all. it looks blurry in the foreground, which breaks the illusion. It actually makes my art look a lot more
Actually, it's
realistic,
really
though.
Cool.
It's almost like a tilt shift effect. That's fun. Hey, it looks better. That shows how bad my art is. If it looks better now that it's blurry, I think there's a problem.
Well, imagine as the sun is changing directions, all of a sudden your art becomes...
Oh, yeah.
As the sun is moving throughout the day,
Oh, yeah.
your shadows have to kind of match what might exist already.
Yeah, they would almost have to plan ahead of time, knowing that if the art took them a few hours to accomplish, when the shot was captured, where would the sun be? They would have to plan ahead. This was a true skill that sometimes took a lifetime to perfect. And my first attempt is lame, but at least I tried it. How many of you have tried this? Comment if you've tried this. Seeing through the camera lens with an external monitor and painting at the same time is a luxury that the matte artists of yesteryear did not have. And I'm lucky I did.
How would they have done that before? Because perspective, that's tough.
Yeah, very, very tough. Yeah, they had to work with the camera operator, get the perspective just right, and it was extremely difficult. I don't understand how they did it. They had to really know their stuff. And me, with my little art set here, I tried my best. At least I tried. And now I know and I can appreciate in a greater degree what these matte artists had to go through. Get a better perspective. There it is. There's the matte painting. Oh, it kind of looks silly from that spot, though. It doesn't look real. Oh, you're kind of getting it.
We're getting close.
Oh. Wow.
Wow. Well, would you look like a monster if your face was that big? Oh, hello there.
This is called a 4x8 floppy, and I set this up because I knew that if I was standing in the sun, I would get fussy, and I'm already hangry because I skipped lunch. And so I knew if I set this up, I would be in a happier mood while I painted. Being happy while you paint is the most important thing. If you aren't happy while you're painting, then you might as well stop, unless you're getting paid for it. Then you need to pretend to be happy. I don't know where this would be in the world. Maybe Mexico? South America? Or the West with a barbecue. It almost looks like it's from the 1800s, except the barbecue gives it away, and the doggy door. The other thing they had to keep in mind is where the actors were placed. If the actors stood in the wrong spot, the illusion would be broken.
Illusions!
There's a movie that's famous that everyone knows called Gone with the Wind, and pretty much every wide establishing shot in the movie was filmed on a back lot in Hollywood, and they did matte paintings.
In this scene from Gone with the Wind, few moviegoers realize that the panorama above Scarlett O'Hara is painted artwork.
How many matte paintings were done with night scenes?
I think they did day for night. Back then, the film stock was so slow that they couldn't film at night. So what they would probably do is film during the day, paint a night sky over the regular sky, and underexpose the image to make it look darker. Also, if they were filming at night, they would have to open up the iris, and that would break the illusion of the depth. They probably never did a night matte painting.
So I wonder if we took this in post and made it look day to night, what would that look like night? What would we need to do to make this look like night?
Yeah, we could color grade it to look like night. The other thing I could do is darken it like this. See that?
Oh yeah.
That looks kind of cool. And then I could cool it down here. Cool it down, make it look blue.
Why don't you go walk around over there
Okay.
for a minute?
This camera shoots 4K, but I shot at 1080p, so it would crop in on the sensor. I wanted the sensor to be smaller so the depth of field would be wider. So I cropped in, effectively making this a micro four thirds size sensor. Here's what it looks like in 4K. Look at that.
Wow.
That really shows what's going on.
That's fun.
It looks way better now. It's looking more realistic. If that pane of glass was bigger, I could have gotten more detail into it. Also, if I was a better artist, I could have done more detail. So look at that. That's 30. This is where I was, 35 mil, and I couldn't get both in focus, even at f16. So that is why I went out to 18, because at 18 they both look fine, and then I punched in. This was thoroughly enjoyable, making my own little world. But this is definitely like a child playing with crayons compared to the work that these real matte artists are doing today on the computer. But they have to sit in offices at a computer desk, and all the fun is taken out of it. So it's sad. The product is better, but the work experience is lame now. But back in the day, the work experience was enjoyable. They got to have an outside job. So it's sad. This is what's most exciting to me. We have come full circle. A long time ago, the effect was captured in camera. And again, with the Mandalorian and the way they've pioneered in-camera set extension techniques, we're there again.
The volume is 21 feet tall, it's 75 feet in diameter, run by 7 machines, pumping the visuals onto the screen that's being created in pre-production and can be on the screen within 24 hours of being finalized.
The effect is captured in camera, and once again, it's an enjoyable, tactile experience. The technology's come full circle. Took about 100 years, but we've done it. I tried when painting to do a bit of atmospheric perspective, and that means that things further away from the camera are not as vibrant, they're not as saturated. I made the greens in the foreground more vibrant than the greens in the background. I tried, but I didn't quite accomplish the atmospheric perspective that I was trying to. Looking at some of these old movies, it's incredible what they were able to accomplish. Absolutely incredible.